Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you how we called the bearish move today, yesterday. We're going to show you how we called the bottom of the Qs today, yesterday. Strategies that actually work in this market, our precise daily stock levels, as well as our game plan in Forex and our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Oh, we have no intro here? No intro today, guys. Oh, well. All right, we don't get the cool little intro. That's okay. We have a lot cooler things than the intro. Not sure why it didn't go off, but nonetheless, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Newsbeat Show. We're going to be talking about an array of things, and I want to show you exactly how we did it. So there are a lot of people from the other day who were like, okay, Mark, the title of yesterday's Newsbeat Show is bear if you do, bear if you don't. And this is basically the point where we were coming to you and we were saying, look, guys, if the market goes up tomorrow, it's a bearish opportunity. If the market goes sideways tomorrow, it's a bearish opportunity. If the market starts going down, it's a bearish opportunity. And it was kind of weird that I came out and said that to some of you guys. And a lot of you guys were like, what the hell? What the hell did he see that I didn't? And that's pretty much where people were going with this. And I just thought that I would share that with you, show that to you, and explain exactly why I was so bearish on the market today. And basically, this is what happened. Now, I'm going to show you here the chart, and it might be just bear with me. That's the only thing I'm asking. Just simply bear with me. Now, when the Qs put in a bearish engulfing bar with elevated volume that's trading below the exponential 8, I know it looks like Spider-Man got drunk last night and decided to play with my charts, but just focus on the candlesticks and focus on this yellow line, the exponential 8 moving average, all right? And by the way, Spider-Man and whiskey do not go well together. Unlike Melnick and whiskey, it's a perfect combination. But with that being said, notice how we put in that big bearish bar on June 25th. Notice how we put in that doji in the Qs yesterday. All right, what if I told you in the past 10 years, when the Qs put in a deep elevated red volume bar, and you put in an inside doji with declining volume afterwards, what percentage of the time do you think the market goes down within 2 days? Either the next day or the very next day in a significant fashion. What percentage of the time? Ken says 92. Anyone else? 75? Jack 100? Ah, Jack, you win. 100% of the time. Now, but Mark, past results aren't indicative of future performance. Well, guess what? I know that, Captain Obvious. Thank you for pointing that out. But for me to come with conviction to you, I don't need something to work 100% of the time. If something works 80% of the time, I will come to you with conviction, and I'll be right 4 out of 5 times. In a situation like this, 100% of the time, only in the past 10 years. I don't know. Maybe some of you were in diapers at that time. Yes, we have a 14-year-old successful trader in our room who makes money consistently and goes to school. How's that? Maybe you were in diapers at that time. I guess if he was 4 years old at that time, and yes, I am singling you out, I hope you're wearing those pull-ups. The pull-ups, you know. You remember the commercial? Mommy, wow, I'm a big kid now. Remember those? Nonetheless, in the past 10 years, when you have a big elevated volume bar, which I define as 2.5 times the recent average range of volume, followed by an inside doji, which has 60% or less of the prior day's volume, which we did 39 million compared to 77.8, so we did about half, which is less than 60%, within either the very next day or the very next day, meaning the next 2 days, you're going to have a massive flush down. I don't mean like a little tiny red bar. You know how many people can come to you and say, well, after we get this big red bar over here, we tend to have a smaller range the next day. Congratulations, Captain Obvious. We are very well aware after you have a tremendously sized day that most likely the next day is small. But again, That's what I like to call. I should start a group called Zero Value and literally list people in the industry who bring absolutely no value to their broadcasters. I have so much more respect for people who are wrong, who will make a prediction, put their butts on the line and be incorrect, than somebody who will come back and just tell you, yeah, look, guys, the cues were, looking a little bearish today. Let's see, What was the support level we called on the triple Qs? Oh, we called 169.84 yesterday. We called 169.84 yesterday on the levels, and we're going to share all those levels with you and a lot more. We're going to share all those levels with you and a lot more. We shared those things with you. Why? Because they work. Now, I already know. There was one person who emailed me and said, Mark, um, the levels in which hit on your chart, I'll show you the chart. This was an email I got before, and I just want to explain it. So these are all my new levels. If you are part of my service, by the way, as from this point on, you will get emailed these levels. If you are watching on Facebook, if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to screenshot these levels. But yeah, these are today's levels. Yesterday's level on the Q is 169.84. And I get an email from somebody who is watching on either Facebook or YouTube, somebody who's not part of the room, and they say, Mark, your levels are great when they hit, but when they don't hit, I don't know what to do. Your levels are great when they hit. I've made money off them, but what do I do when your levels don't hit? And when somebody presents a question to me like that, I'm just like, awesome, totally awesome, because if that's your situation where a level doesn't hit, guess what happens what I do when a level doesn't hit? I don't trade it. I ignore it. I simply ignore it. Would you believe me if I told you I was making money to the long side every single time today? Would you believe me if I told you that? Would you believe me if I showed you a chart like Netflix here and I said I made money doing nothing but buying Netflix today? You would think I was either lying, which I'm not. You would think I was lucky, in which I wasn't. Or I don't know what else you would think. Or maybe you just know that I'm telling you the truth based on what I've shown you in the past, and you're more curious to how. That's actually the more likely scenario. So I'm going to show you that right here. Very simply, Netflix, massive upgrade today. We're looking for a long. What happens early on? Netflix breaks up, hits 409.95 right here, pulls back to 408. We buy at 408 thinking that, or 408, 409, somewhere around there. I actually forgot now, but we are buying on this candle, I could tell you that, for a move through 410. Netflix explodes through 410, it's 411.59, pops 3 points, 3.5 points, sell, done, trade over. Stock pulls down again, hits the exponential 8 on the 5 minute. Look, like magic, pops again. Pulls down again. Netflix is now chilling at around $403. People ask me, Mark, where are you going to buy Netflix again? When Netflix was at $403, right over here, before 12 o'clock, when it was at $403, I said, let Netflix flush under $397.75 and then go long. And I sat on my hands for the next hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and like magic, right over here. Netflix flushed through 397.75. Stock went down to 395.75. I was buying my calls around 396, and immediately the stock popped up $2.75. Look, and I got a very interesting point today, and I want to highlight the question. I'm not going to say Ken's name because I love him, but he does bring up an excellent point. One of the excellent points he brought up was, Mark, why wouldn't you just I love you, Ken. Mark, why didn't you just short Netflix at 403 as opposed and catch, I don't know, 17, 18 points, or in this case, I'm sorry, in this case, 6, 7 points. It actually went down further. Why wouldn't you just capture the short and capture 6, 7 points as opposed to just buying it here and trying to catch a quick 2.5 points? Here's the difference. This market is about being right. Anybody who told you being right doesn't matter is not a consistent trader. There are people out there who really believe the money you make on the trades are the most important factor. No, The money you lose on a trade compared to what you make is a factor. But being right is by far the most important thing in the market. And let me tell you why. And I'm going to explain this to you, and then I'm going to show you the strategies. Then I'm going to show you exactly the trend line I used to call the bottom of the Qs today, yesterday. Fair enough? This is why being right is the most important thing in the market. And it's not coming from a conceited place. The percentage of times you are right compared to the percentage of times you are wrong will be the defining factor if you are going to continue as a trader. Why? Why is that the most important factor, Mark? Tell me. So you're telling me, Mark, if I make $10,000 on Monday, lose $1,000 Tuesday, lose $1,000 Wednesday, lose $1,000 Thursday, lose $1,000 Friday for a $6,000 week, you made money 1 out of 5 times. You made 10 grand, lost a grand, lost a grand, lost a grand, lost a grand. I'm a great trader, you would say, right? You made 6 grand. Who's better than you? You are a trader who is not going to be a trader for long. And you might say, Mark, that doesn't make sense. I am making money, $6,000 a week in my current situation is plenty enough to pay my bills, plenty enough to pay my mortgage, support my family, feed my kids, etc., 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 and save money left over in the bank. Why are you telling me this? Because there's something called psychological toxicity. And what happens is if you're that trader now who throws away trades too early, you are poisoned with this psychological toxicity. If you are one of those traders who can't find the conviction anymore behind certain trades, you suffer from this psychological toxicity. That is why they say, you could get everyone's opinion. My opinion, about 96, 97% of traders fail in the long run. Like, if you're a trader 2 years from now, 96% of you will not be traders. And you might be like saying, wow, Mark, that's harsh. That is the reason why we created this room. That is the reason why. The point is, if you are right, you can scale up on any of these names. So, for example, what if I told you, going back to this Netflix idea, when Netflix was 403, I was not 100% confident that we were going to get to 397.75. I was in 90% confidence. I was in 80% confidence. I might have been 50% confidence. Confident. I don't want a 50-50 shot at something. Where is the edge in a 50-50 shot? It's like flipping a coin and calling heads or tails and getting 1-to-1 odds. That is not what you do as a trader. However, I knew if Netflix did flush through 397.75 that I would be right well over 85-90% of the time in a situation like this, regardless of what the market conditions look like. In this case, very bearish, and I'm going long. Now, why would I take that shot that Netflix drops, even if it will pay me more, when I think I have a 50-50 chance of that working, as opposed to buying Netflix, watching the stock pop 2.5 points, selling out for money? Why wouldn't I do that? And I could do it in real time. Hey guys, I'm watching Netflix. Netflix is at 398. Hey guys, I'm watching Netflix. Guys, Netflix is pulling down here. I'm looking to buy Netflix. I'm going to buy Netflix down here. Okay, guys, I'm about to do it. All right, I bought Netflix right now. Here is my price. That's what it sounds like. We buy it. You want to know what it looked like? You want to know what it felt like? And again, what am I doing? I'm touting what I consider a garbage trade. But I have to show you its efficacy and why it's so phenomenally effective. So right over here here's a 1 minute just to show you where Netflix fell under 396. This is where we bought it. Went from 395.75 to 398.68. $3 in within 1.5 minutes. $3 within 1.5 minutes. Are you telling me that that's not an opportunity? Look at the 1 minute volume. Notice the 1 minute volume here when we bought Netflix. Notice how that 1 minute volume bar in Netflix was one of the top volume bars of the day randomly in the middle of the day at lunchtime. You know why that is? Because we know where robots in the market buy. Do you think we moved up Netflix? You think the Newsbeat room was responsible for 200,000 shares of Netflix, which shot the stock higher? I mean, I would love for that to be the reason, but no, it isn't. Because we knew robots were going to buy there. So what we do is we bought at the bottom of this tail right here. And again, this is all done in real time. This is, you know how much I love Captain Hindsight. You know how much I look at Captain Hindsight stuff and say that it's useless. And we let the robots buy for us. We bought ahead of the robots and then we let them buy. We activated them. They were activated to buy, and it was predictable that they would have been activated to buy right at that moment. So I will take these 80, 90% chances in the market when I can because I know where that's where the good money is. So we got some more emails basically saying, Mark, your level on the Qs yesterday of 169.84 was awfully close to where the Qs basically bottomed today. How did you do it? Now I'm going to show you that. Okay. I'm going to just delete the lines here. My apologies to Spider-Man. I'm going to show you exactly how we did this. Take a trend line on your daily chart of the Qs, draw the top of May 14th to May 30th. That's how we called the bottom of the Qs today, yesterday. I hate to make it sound so simple. Oh, and by the way, that's also how we called the low of the Qs on Monday, by the way. When the Qs flushed 170 and you guys were wondering where that call came from, look, is it a coincidence that it happens like that? Now, you might be sitting there watching this right now thinking to yourself, why did you draw that line? There are a million lines you could have drawn, Mark. Again, if I could sum up that answer in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 sentences, I would. I would need a few hours to describe that to you in full detail. And if you take my trendline course, I think there's going to be a deal on it this week. I wouldn't sign up for it today. I would actually wait till Thursday. We're actually going to be doing a little webinar for you guys tomorrow, and I'm sure T3 will send you the email. I would wait for that. But inside this trendline course, I explain to you exactly why I do it. This course pays for itself in one trade almost always. So yesterday, I want to show you what it did. Yesterday, you guys were saying, why did you call the bottom of FDS there? So FDS opened yesterday at 204, and you guys were asking me where I was going to buy it, and I basically said, let's flush through 197.50. The stock flushed down. We bought the calls yesterday, $200 calls by day low, on one of the biggest down days in the market this year, this stock exploded through the roof. Our calls doubled. What else did we take as an overnight the other night? General Electric. What a coincidence. One of the articles we listed is the general coming back. I think that's how we listed it. General Electric exploded today. I caught a double in my calls. I could have probably caught a quadruple. I ended up selling for a double and it went up, much higher. And even at the end of the day, as the Qs closed near the day lows, at the spiders closed near the day lows, despite the market closing at the day lows, guess what? Our overnight trades in this scenario, based on this algo buster reversal strategy, based on the trend line where the robots were buying, both trades worked magnificently. Both trades were up over 100% of your money. You bet $1,000, you made $1,000, meaning you took $1,000 worth of risk. If this stock went to zero, you would lose $1,000. Like, that's what I mean, $1,000 worth of risk. Like, no hard stops, just you bet $1,000. You could have made $1,000. That's what I did. I caught a double. Actually, I made a little less than a double on this one, and it went up like 2.5. I made like 85, 90%, something like that. But nonetheless, I pretty much could have easily caught a double, and on General Electric, I did catch a double. So those two worked. I do want to talk about Bed Bath & Beyond. Here's a situation where I'm wrong. It's very easy to talk about all the things you are right, and, I don't know why broadcasters don't do this. It's actually, you will have a lot more to learn from losing trades than you will winning trades. Winning trades happen almost all the time for us here. Let's talk about the trades that didn't work. Bed Bath & Beyond overnight. Well, I can't say it didn't work yet. It's just so far not working because who knows what happens tomorrow. I'd rather just go over the earnings. 32 cents, match the 32 cents consensus. 2.8 billion, beat the 2.75 billion expected. What happened though is they backed their fiscal year 2018 earnings with low to mid $2 range. Basically, low to mid is 2.25 to 2.50. pretty much, or like 2 to 250, and they were expecting 227, so that came pretty much right in line. They declared a quarterly dividend of 16 cents. They said they reported strong sales from customers facing digital channels. That means their online business um, is looking a lot better. They said their consolidated net sales flat to slightly positive. Loop Capital came out keeping a hold rating, saying the results are nothing to write home about. I agree with Loop Capital on this one, and they also said they're going to be they're ahead of their plan with their next gen stores. So they're going to actually be changing what Bed Bath and Beyond is. Who knows? Maybe they'll tattoo that 20% coupon on your forearm since nobody is brave enough to walk in the store without it. I looked at the earnings. I didn't think they were great. I didn't think they were horrible. Overall, I'm bullish. And let me tell you why. I see they're gap down after hours. I get it. I get it. I took some lotto calls very light, and so far they're not working. And I'm still in them, obviously. But let's talk about it. From a fundamental perspective, this is a very beaten up company. So when you have a company that looks like this, like here's the weekly of Bed Bath and Beyond, just to give you a macro picture. When you have a weekly chart that looks like this and you're in line to slightly positive, to me that's a huge win. That is a huge win for the company. I mean, whatever they do on earnings, whatever they do on earnings. To me, fundamentally, this is a tremendous win. If you have a stock like Amazon, which reports inline earnings to slightly positive, there's something terribly wrong here. So just keep in mind the context of the type of store that did it. It was Bed Bath and Beyond, right? They beat analyst consensus on revenues. They literally made 50 million more dollars this quarter than analysts were expecting. That, believe it or not, that's tremendous for a Bed Bath and Beyond. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with it. My calls, if the stock does open up here at 19 and a quarter, the stock is showing down. I should be down some money on my calls. With that being said, precise strategies that work. So I wanted to talk about strategies that were working today in this market. And one of the things that are working really well in a market that gaps up and you see it pulling down is indeed the pivot point. I want you to watch these pivot points here because they work. I'm going to go over names whether they worked or not. The truth is I didn't even have a chance to fully check them. But what's been working a lot is pivot points. Here's a name I didn't trade today. Yum Brands. You see this yellow dotted line? That's the pivot point. This one failed. This one failed today. Next on my list was Amazon. Here's Amazon flushing through the pivot point at 1683, bounces to almost 1690. This one succeeded on Amazon. And again, I'm not talking home runs, but let's just be honest. How many of you people out there, 99, 95, 98% of your positions are long positions, regardless of the market condition? Please don't be that person who acts like, oh, on every day I do mostly shorts, or on every up day I do mostly longs. Just, you know, cut that out for a moment. Unless you really have your statistics in front of you and you're really that one person who's like that. How many people are always going long, pretty much, almost regardless of the market condition? Now, me, I go short on negative news notes. I go long on positive news notes. The reason why I'm mostly long is because the analysts are mostly bullish. So I'm just following the news. I'm following the trend in terms of analyst trends and news flow trends. That's why I'm generally bullish. So even on a day like today, if you see, it's so easy to just add this little yellow pivot point line here. And the names I'm going over, by the way, if you're curious of why I'm going over these names, I'll show you. It's because these are the names that we were watching on our game plan this morning. So number one didn't work. Number two, Amazon worked. Let's go to the third one, Ross Stores. All these names have news, by the way. And again, we are the Newsbeat room. Here's a little flush through 85 and a quarter and pretty much goes sideways. So I wouldn't say this one worked as much as it didn't work and it didn't not work. This one was mostly a scratch on Ross Stores. And we're dealing with longs on the most bearish day in the market. Here's 3160 and AT&T. Never hit today. Not even a good example. Never hit. Here's letter W. Pivot point is 111.27. Right over here, it's 111.29. Bounces, comes back down, officially hits it, bounces. Here's an example where it worked by just waiting for this pivot line to hit. And what happens is if you gap up, you're pretty much over that pivot point every single time. So what I'm saying is if you gap up and you see the market pulling back and you want to buy one of your bearish names, wait for the pivot point. Now, why is what I'm saying really effective? The reason why it's very effective is you're not going to get chopped up in between. You're not going to be that person trying to nail a low and failing, nail a low and failing, nail a low and failing, and waiting for, chopping up your account. You're waiting patiently. You're not over trading. It's going to exude positive qualities within your trading, which is a very important thing. Next is Netflix. Did the pivot point work in Netflix today? This is one of the trades we did successfully, where you flush through the pivot point and you bounce $3 and we bought it right at the bottom. That is the best case scenario where you flush underneath the level and then bounce. At least that's the one I like the most. That way you could get an overreaction and just very simple. You hit this yellow line, you flush it through, you bounce. So Netflix works. So far Yum failed, Amazon worked, Ross was a scratch, T was a scratch, W worked, Netflix worked. Let's see our next one, WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. That one actually never hit the pivot point because it was too far low, 66.75. So that's also a scratch. VRX was another stock that got upgraded today. Did this one work? All right, here's where you opened in VRX. Look, you flush to 23.13, you hit 23.11, and you bounce to 23.41. Damn right that worked. And remember, we're only looking for the first test. It ended up working again here, but I don't care about that. That means nothing to me. We're only looking at the first test. So VRX worked. And then we mentioned GE had positive commentary. Let's see. I don't think GE hit the pivot point today. No, it didn't. So let's look about what we just said. So Yum, we're going to say this failed. Failed. Amazon worked. Ross Stores, a scratch. T, if you didn't move or you didn't hit the level, I'm going to say scratch. W, worked. Netflix, worked. These are the names we gave this morning. We're going to say, when I say scratch, like WWE never hit it, it was a name you would ignore. VRX, worked. In GE was a scratch. So if you took the 9 names we were watching this morning, look what happens. You have 1 fail and 4 works. That is 80% of the time. That is 80% of the time that strategy worked to the long side today. See, it's funny to talk about what a bullish candle looks like, and then the market goes up, and people act like they sound like a genius. Show me a strategy that's working 4 out of 5 times to the long side today using the identical parameter on every single chart. Show me that, and I'll say, wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. That pivot point strategy I just showed you is working in this market when you gap up and the stock pulls back. You gap up in the morning just like you did today, and then the stock pulls back. And when that happens, when you hit this simple pivot point right here, you have a long opportunity. I could do a full video on the pivot point. I'll probably end up doing one probably maybe Thursday night. I'll give you guys like that sort of educational class thing where we're doing more and more educational videos to show you trades that are actually working in this environment. A lot of them are working really well in this environment right now. The trades even that we discussed from last week are working very well in this environment. And they're long trades. Think about it in a day like today. If your long ideas are working in a day like today, you're doing something right. And that's why we're maintaining consistency here because we keep doing things that are right. So our game plan. So I have this little crapper name for you here, PED. That's Pedevco Corporation. It's a little crapper oil name. Stock exploded today. And the stock is gapped up to over $3 after hours. I'm going to give you a very simple trigger here on the weekly. The weekly that I'm going to give you is $3.20 right here, going back to the July 8th weekend of 2016. And a break of 320, this stock could get to $4.10. Again, little crapper oil name because it's a little sub $5 name. I mean, the stock literally was at 31 cents where it opened today, and the stock exploded up. Definitely a momentum name, definitely something to watch, and I think this one could head higher tomorrow. Interestingly enough, we have a lot of great Forex ideas on the table here today. Winning Forex ideas. Again, using nothing but the trend lines that I use to call the market at lows. I use strictly trend lines to buy and sell Forex names. What's above the gray line are two orders that we got filled from in yesterday. Let's just see how we're doing in them so far. I think we're up money list. I checked. Yeah, we're up money. We're doing very well right now. I think we're up tons and tons of pips, so to speak. So I think we're up like 40 pips in one and maybe 30, 40 in the other. So don't copy those top trades above the gray line here. Again, these are in US standard lots. They actually on a multiplicative account. I'm actually taking 60 standard lots spread through my accounts when you see a size of 4. So every loss I take is 15 times heavier than what it seems, and every gain I make is 15 times heavier than what it seems. Here are my new trades. They're all buy orders, 6 buy orders. Here's the size in the trade I'm taking again. Here's the currency pairing in which I'm taking. Here's the price of the currency pairing in which I'm bidding on. Here's my stop loss level in case I am wrong after I get filled. Here's my take profit level in case I'm right after I get filled. That's where I'll sell out if I'm right. This is where I'll sell out if I'm wrong. You get the front end, you get the back end, you get the parameter, you get my entry. These are pending orders underneath the gray line. Above the gray line were the Forex orders from yesterday. And what I simply do is I just come in and I cancel the orders that didn't get filled and put in new orders every night for you, or at least Sunday through Thursday, 5 days a week. So you feel free to do whatever you'd like with them, but this is 100% Forex transparency. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you like these sort of like educational videos where I show you like silly stuff of how we do things or like how we called, bottoms today, there's a reason why we're the most consistent trading room in the nation. There's a reason why we're the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. Make sure you thumbs up if you like this video, and we'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.